Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your favorite show, and that is Men. We are coming a bit late, and for good reason, because we want to talk about the things that your children should not hear. Now, it has often been said that a man who keeps a chicken as a pet is bound to eat it at some point. So tonight, we are going to ask the very valid question as to whether a man and a woman can be just friends. This is your show. We want to hear from you. Our Twitter handle is NTV MEN UG. Let's get the conversation going. You can also hit us up on Facebook, like our page, and talk to us. It is NTV MEN. Now, we're here at the Hilton Garden Inn Hotel. Three gentlemen. How are we all doing?
Doing good. All right.
You're looking very bright. Now, we brought our Nigerian superstar onto onto this. Somebody
superstar,
said, I'm like a border rider. You
What?
don't see me coming.
It's like this Nigerian cousin. Like,
Yes, my Nigerian cousins.
Yeah.
We kind of look together, don't we?
Yeah.
Peter.
That's what our former mayor said. My brother and I look together.
Yes, we do.
Anyway, Chris,
Yo.
it has often been said that it's very difficult for a man and a woman to just be friends. All right. Now, biologically, men and women are attracted to each other. Right? In your opinion, is it actually possible to just have a very close friend who's a woman and is just a friend?
Well, if they're your sister, let's see.
I'd rather say non-related.
So, I think I was having a conversation recently with a very wise man, and most of the answers he was giving, he started by this phrase: "It depends." Okay, it depends because I know of some well-meaning guys who have gone down that road and said it's not possible for anything to happen, and they didn't live to tell that story.
Yeah, because it did happen.
Because it did happen. Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's guys who have said it won't happen, and it hasn't happened. So why I say it depends is because what governs human relations are boundaries that you put in place, right? So if the boundaries are respected, are healthy and are respected, it won't happen.
Yeah.
Not in a lifetime. But if there are no boundaries, or they're kind of flimsy, and you get into the zone of friends with benefits and stuff like that, it's happening. So my first go at it is, it depends.
All right, cool. Banji, we've heard of stories. I know Chris mentioned that there's a difference between facts and truth. But we've heard of a lot of stories where we've had happily ever afters, and I put them in quotes, where somebody was a friend. Because of the close proximity, things started happening. Now, there's a Lutoro saying that says, if you don't want to marry an ugly woman, don't live next to one. And I gather to translate it directly to this situation means the fact that you're in close proximity with somebody, something is bound to happen. And that's why you live with your wife. What do you think?
Well, Chris, how do we call in Uganda dry banana leaves?
Ebyayi.
So
Esanja.
you cannot put a sanja near fire.
Yeah.
It is bound to catch fire. And I will again borrow his concept of it depends. Because sometimes we start the friendship without defining the goals. What is the goal? Because I know there are guys who become friends to a lady because they are looking for, I am calling it long walk to freedom. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years, but he eventually became president. So it's a long walk to presidency. So the guy is like, well, I like this lady A, but I cannot attack straight. She's either a pastor's daughter or she's a president's son, daughter I can't manage. So it starts with friendship, and friendship brings closeness, and eventually they cross the boundaries. So what is the goal? I think of that friendship. It's very, very important. However, there are guys and people who have made friends with ladies, but they are very careful. They are friends, but they are serious boundaries, you know. And I think that if I were to have female friends, and
I
then
like,
my
your
wife,
choice of words, though.
if I were to have female friends, which I have,
Okay, are you
and
sure?
my wife doesn't know them,
Ah,
then that would be a problem. Because one of the ways, the best boundary you can set is that if she is your friend, she's not your friend alone. She's the friend of the family. Wait a minute. Because you may find that this is, for instance, a workmate. You are always together, you know, you are on the same project. So you are kind of close, but not this closeness where the two of you will go to a bar and sit and take a bottle, where the two of you will go on a holiday together, just the two of you. No, she's friends, she's someone you can call at any time, but the boundaries must be there. So that's why I started at the goals. What is the goal? Once the goal is not clear, then I think please don't go there.
Okay, but Banji, realistically, with how many of your friends do you say, okay, now we are starting to become friends, this is a list of things, do you agree? No, friendships just develop. Okay, you don't set out and plan and say, okay, now we are moving to second degree of friendship.
Peter.
You know,
No, Peter. No.
Yeah.
I don't think that I, for one, relate with just anybody. You know, let's see where it goes. I'm not that kind of guy, and I think that's the point that Banji is making. It's possible for you to set out the kind of relationship you're going to have with someone. And actually, do you know that it's possible for you to limit a certain engagement with a particular person because of the kind of space you allow them and the kind of things you say to them? If I decide I'm never going to confide in this person concerning my private life, we're going to talk for years, and there is no zilch about me because I decided so. So the danger comes in. He's calling them goals. I call it definition, boundaries. It's like you say, look, this is how this is going to be, and it's very clear.
yeah, but
Because if we go along with the argument that if you put anything male next to anything female, sex is going to be the outcome, we cannot have professional relationships because, whoa, everyone is going to sleep with everyone.
I'll tell you what, and Chinedu, please, I'd like to hear from you.
okay.
The fact that people, that's why there are a lot of office relationships. And there are even some organizations which encourage it because they say you spend more time at the workplace, so they encourage it for you. So, can we take Chris's holier than thou
It's
space
holier than that.
and
Peter, you
say,
had to throw that in, right?
and say, no, it can't happen.
No, Peter, I have not said it can happen. Just so we are clear.
Yeah.
My first shot was, it depends.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is you define.
Yeah.
If we're agreed on that, if that's holier than thou, I'm happy to be holier than thou.
No, but just to touch on, you know, how you said it, that, you know, my personal life, I don't give information on that. I just think based on that, then that's not a friend. Basically, I think
yes.
that eliminates.
That's
So
an
in that
acquaintance,
situation,
yeah.
that's an acquaintance, because with your friend, you are intimate with your friends. I mean, you go on you might go on holidays together, different friends. You see, that's exactly that's what I'm saying when you say friends. I mean, like, call it pedantry and that, but I go with words so we have to define these words, because not just anybody's your friend. So that word friend, as in, you know, birthdays, holidays, things, so you have all this closeness. There's closeness. If there's a friend, there's closeness. You lean on this person, shoulder to lean on, you know, stuff like that. So I think when the overall question, can men and women be friends? The simple answer is yes, because anything is possible in this life. That's the simple answer. But human beings, we're known and prone to complications. We complicate things. So what you said is very valid. Based on the information you give, the allowance you give, you create those problems by yourself. Because you know, oh, if I do this, this might happen, that happen. But from a personal standpoint, I know it is possible because, as I'm sitting here, most of my friends are female.
And they're just friends.
They're just friends. That's what I'm
You've
saying.
never
No.
thought about?
Oh no, you see, the mind is a dangerous place. Of course you've thought it, because a beautiful woman is a beautiful woman, and based on your makeup, because that's part of the thing. It's even an attraction that might have made you friends in the first place. Because the eyes are the window. That's the first thing you see. Are like, oh, that's a nice person, so you're drawn to that person, and you start talking, and then, but the lines is pretty clear early.
Yeah.
Where this is going. A lot of times.
And Peter, you see, I think that he still makes the same point. He talks lines, I talk boundaries, he talks goals. So why this is a landscape that can't be defined and placed in a box is that it's true that if you don't want to marry an ugly woman, never live next to them, the Batoroa, right?
Yes.
You place a sanja next to a fire, you'll get burnt. The Bible says, can one place fire in their bosom and not get burnt? Same thing. If Colin were here, he would say, if you put cheese next to the fire, it will melt. Same thing again and again. Point is this, is that we are spiritual beings who have souls and live in bodies.
Yeah.
This thing here, unless you are master over it, it can rule you and take you in a direction you don't want to go. So we need to be in charge of what we let it do or not do. So and this is I think this whole conversation is premised on a basic argument that we've not agreed on, Peter, you and I, for years, which is about men animals or human beings? All right? Because if
we're animals first,
no. You see, this we'll never agree. So because if we are animals, then when a dog is on heat, any female, if a female is on heat, all the dogs lose, like if they had brains, the blood goes down, and off they go, right? But human beings, like he said, can see an attractive woman, and you make the calculation and say, attractive woman, agreed. Not my wife, agreed. Don't advance, agreed. Cease fire. Go home.
Is it
right?
Is it that simple?
Now, when we say women can't be friends with men, we need to understand the spaces in which friendship occurs. Because, let us take the Ugandan context, for example. In the past, maybe 20 years ago, women were confined to the homesteads. Very few of them were actually in school, so it was just home, garden, back home. But now, you find that your boss is a woman, your assistant is a woman, your colleague is a woman. So we are having so much interaction with women that somehow, somewhere, you will end up being friends, or you will start, being familiar with each other, and then you start getting close. You may have similar interests. Every evening you are going to watch football together at KCCA Stadium. Yes, together at KCCA Stadium, together with your colleagues, and then you talk about football even when you're at work and these other issues. But now the whole thing is that as humans, as human beings, sometimes this person, you may think they are friends, but when actually you are even not aware that you have feelings for them. Now, this is normally what happens to guys. They are friends with this lady, then all of a sudden she tells him she's going to get married, and the guy loses it. He runs nuts. Why are you getting married? Who is this guy you are marrying? Is he a good guy? I don't think because the guy, either unaware of it, he had fallen for this woman. So when you are friends with a woman, you have to be careful. You keep checking your emotions. What is it that I'm feeling for this person? Is it friendship? Do we have similar interests? Or is there something much more than this? And then you put the line. You have to put a red line. I like the American military. They say you have crossed the red line. So there has to be a red line. That if I feel like this, then I run backwards. If it smells like this, then I don't want to go there.
But something to think about, guys. We make it sound like it's so easy. Just draw a line and say, don't even know when you've crossed the line. Now, we are here at the Hilton Garden Inn Hotel. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. We are talking about platonic relationships. Can a man and a woman just be friends? In Chinedu's own words, a friend is somebody you lean on. There is closeness.
No.
Okay.
No. So, Peter, I just would like to just jump right back in with part of what Banji has said. So, some sociologists have defined 4 spaces in which people operate, right? So there's a public space, it's 70, 100 people plus, all right? That's good for parties and things like that, but no one knows anyone really. Among 100 people, there isn't much closeness. There is what they call a social space. Anywhere between 30 to 70 people. You can actually throw a house party if you have 30 people plus, all right? So it's a group that's large enough to dare and small enough to care. So in there, you can know some people, but not too intimate, but you sort of know the names and, you know, that kind of thing. And then you've got what they call the personal space. The personal space is 8 to 12 people that are around you. You know each other relatively well, right? But it's not like the last space, which is the intimate space, which is you or 2 to 3 other people. So a relationship between a man and a woman, couple, married, is in the intimate space, right? Now, if you are doing intimate space friendship type of things with someone in the social space at office, they are going to be in the intimate space and do intimate type of things.
The ones he was talking about going to watch football with.
No, because, and I'll tell you, by the way, these are real things. And sometimes as guys, we think these are innocent things, but they are not. I've referred to this author quite a bit because he has a great argument and he did big research on this. That Willard Harvey, who wrote the book His Needs, Her Needs, when he talks about the women's 5 biggest needs and men's 5 biggest needs, and he was actually talking about something similar. This is exactly the topic he was handling, which is about, is it possible that a relationship can start platonically and end up becoming an intimate relationship?
Oh yeah, we know it
the
does.
answer is yes.
Yeah.
How does that happen? You see, what
Even
happens?
The reverse also happens.
Yeah, for unfortunate guys. But so how does that happen? Is because when you keep on doing, if there is a lady in your life who is just a friend, but she keeps on meeting a certain need you have long enough, she becomes more and more special because she's building up credits in your heart.
Yep.
So before long, you are fond of her, and therefore you find a man who loves his wife dearly and cannot let go of a mistress. He says, I love my wife, I can't chuck her, but this woman here does this for me. So because she's meeting a specific need. Now, men's
Who makes the love.
Yeah, the one who
yeah.
makes me laugh.
So you'll find men's top needs. There is sex in there. There is the need for a playmate, someone with whom you can just go have fun. Because sometimes you find a guy is married, and the wife does not like Arsenal because it has not won for many years. But there is a
Could
girl.
have picked another team, but fair enough.
No, I'm just saying.
Pick the right team.
But then there's a girl who loves Arsenal. So whenever Arsenal's playing, win or lose, she's there with you. So after 5 years of Arsenal in the bar, you find yourself in the bed. Because this person is meeting a need. So the thing is this, I think really, guys, we see this coming because unlike ladies, we get into relationships, the intimate ones, with both our heads and our hearts. You see it coming. In fact, you kind of let it sleep.
No.
Absolutely.
For men, it's
We
different.
are not animals.
They don't get in with their hearts.
Wait, it's head and heart.
The heart comes later. But
The issue of friendship between a man and a guy and has been debated over centuries, and people have wondered whether it can be possible. But maybe I'll just refer to something in our lifetime. I think there's an American guy called Graham Paul. There is what they call the Graham Paul rule.
Yeah.
For him, he says, if you have a female friend, then do not, and it goes back to the spaces you define, do not bring them into your private space if your wife is not there. If you have a female friend and you are bringing her into your private space, then it must be part like of the family. So that you don't put space or opportunity for you to be tempted. The whole idea is saying, yes, you may, but be very careful. And I think this is the message which I've been communicating. And I told you the long walk to freedom. Because some guys, Igaga, think in your kind of paradigm that, well, if you knock, if you hit this door,
Yeah, you keep
eventually it will
long
work.
enough.
It
Yeah,
will-
it's
it will
gonna.
open.
Yeah, yeah.
So they take the long walk to freedom and say, well, she can even be married, but I will keep the friendship thing close and close. And then she goes into the, what you say, she starts coming, complaining about her marriage, and you are listening, and you are listening.
Then you start consoling.
Yes, you are meeting her emotional needs. Females are emotional. So once you give them a listening ear, you are better than the other guy who is not listening.
Yeah.
You have crossed the boundary.
Now, and that takes me to something. Now, I've picked up something very interesting over here. All of you say it is fine, as long as you manage it well, as long as you draw the line. Now, I want us to look in reverse, and I'll start with you, Chinedu.
Okay.
Are you okay with your wife having this close buddy who's a guy?
Yes. Because what it boils down to at the end of the day is maturity and responsibility. Because we're all adults at the end of the day.
Yes.
So there's a certain level of maturity and responsibility you have to attain. And then getting married or, having a partner, being in a committed relationship is built on trust. So there's that you have to take. It's not easy. Like you're saying, we've all made it sound easy. It's not easy. The crux of this whole thing, is that, it's ultimately going to end up in sex. The sex it's a biological function.
Yeah, and you've heard what you've said.
I've said,
Every
yeah.
time you annoy your wife, she's talking to this close friend
Yeah,
of hers.
that's what I'm saying. So that's what. So you have to know who you're with. Yeah, that's right. Know who you're with.
But you don't know
and
his
your limits.
intentions.
You don't know his intentions. And you see, here's the thing about this friendship thing. Another thing that we always project our thoughts and intentions on others.
That's why Peter
So-
needs to hear you. Peter,
Yeah.
do you see what's going on?
So you
with
see, so basically,
You're gonna kiss man.
so basically, what you're uncomfortable with, because
Yeah.
you're
Because you
uncomfortable with
do
something,
it.
you now feel, that must be the same thing this other person is doing. But it doesn't always work that way. Like I've said, most of my friends are female. Because my wife, I remember she told me her friends were like, are you sure about this guy, everything? Because most of my friends are female, they see a man with a woman, and that means, it's beyond friendship. So she's like, look, when I met him, most of his friends were female, so I can't be losing sleep over that. Like, the one time that she, kind of put her foot down was actually the wedding, because I wanted an all-female train. That's how close I am. Like, I wanted, a female best man, women in pinstripe suits with hats. I thought, this is going to look really cool. And she's like, then it's not me you're marrying. So that's how, so it is possible. But I'm not going to act like, I don't look at these friends of mine and know, that's a fine lady. Because you compliment them when you come like, look at you, you're about to get yourself kidnapped, looking like that. Stuff like that comes out. But you've already mentally checked out that, look, this is my friend, these are the boundaries. But like we're talking earlier off camera, it's like opportunity does come. You're one-on-one. It's a situation. Let's say, let's take it to the movies.
Yeah.
Let's take it to the movies. Or if people, it's raining somewhere, or if people are stuck, or you're snowed in somewhere for 3 days, you're like, something might happen. It's life. Something might happen, yes or no, you don't know. But it all comes down to intent. For me, I think, what was the intentionality of this thing? Like you said, there's the long walk to freedom. People are just biding their time to pounce.
Banji, does opportunity create a thief?
Well, it depends on which.
And would you be okay with your wife having this really close friend?
My problem with marriage has been that some people think that when you're married, you lose your individuality. You know, I am Bunch. There are certain things I like, and there are certain things she likes. She might like Chris for a friend. What to do about it? Chris becomes part of the package. But what? Yes. But how is this friendship?
Yeah.
You understand? This is the whole issue. Because it might be a friendship which is hidden from me. That one I don't like. Actually, that one I will not like.
No,
but it's an open friendship. You know, I know that Chris is a friend, and Chris knows me. Now, the whole idea is with a wife is that you must give them some amount of trust that they will do the correct thing. So they should do the correct thing, because you cannot police.
Sounds very textbook.
Yes, you cannot police wherever they are.
Yeah, true.
We are here. They are home. Do we
that's
know
what
what is
they
happening
say.
home? We have the confidence that the way we left home is the way we shall find it. This is belief. And that's why I like the Bible. Belief and faith. That, you know, faith, you just accept that something will happen even when there is no hope that it will happen. So this is life. So once we know that there can be individuals within a marriage, then we should also accept that people can have friends of the opposite what? Of the opposite sex. However, it doesn't remove the feeling from me that this guy, but this guy. Of course, I will keep saying, but this guy.
Yeah.
However, because I also have female friends, I know the limits. Okay, I understand the limits, and I understand the responsibility that it goes with. So I will ask her, are you aware of these responsibilities? Are you aware of these possibilities? And if she says yes, then well and good.
But how about it? You just don't put that, because I'll tell you what. Maybe I look at life differently. Okay. But I also look at life realistically, because I've seen a contradiction in what you're saying. You've said when you get into a marriage, you come in as an individual. So there's that part of you. But when you get married, you become one.
Yes.
Now, if I was that person who keeps things, a lot of stuff to myself, then it means it's okay for me to get into this relationship and not tell my spouse everything. Because, and in all honesty, we can't say all of us sitting here tell our wives everything. Come on, Chris. I mean, because there are certain things that if she did not
Peter,
know...
can I get an opportunity to answer the question you have asked both these guys? Because somehow you asked him,
wait,
and then you've asked him,
we're going to come to
and you don't want me to tell you what I'm thinking about.
After the break, because I know what you're going to say.
because it's the truth and you want to dodge it.
Now, we are here at the Hilton Garden Inn, and we are talking about whether both men and women can just be friends. Are you a man out there whose wife has this guy who is just a friend, and you're just supposed to chill and be comfortable with them, as the three gentlemen are saying? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, you're in time to tell us whether your friend, who is a woman, is just a friend, or is she more than that? Now let's get this conversation going. Let's talk on Twitter. Our handle is NTV MEN UG. Also on Facebook, you can like us. It's NTV MEN, and let's talk. Okay, first of all, yes.
But because for me, it's
mine was just about the contradiction that I picked up
from what Chinedu said. You see, if a man is a thief and you pass near his assets, he will think you are going to steal them, because he only believes. You know, it's like when you find the police officer, you are looking suspicious. What are you doing here? To him, he's always detecting crime. That is his job. If you find a man of God, he will always want to tell you the word of the good news. So there are some guys who find it very difficult, because for them the only thing which brings them next to a woman is the other thing. And they forget that the world has two people, man and woman, and somewhere they will meet, somewhere they will become friends. So yes, sometimes the friendship between a man and a woman can arouse some kind of questions from their partners. But then these are the questions that you need to answer honestly. And you see, as a man, let me say, you also have to be a lie detector. You know, when you ask madam and you say A, B, C, D, and she's answering, you're also saying, okay, I don't see any tension here. I see truth here. I think I'm satisfied. You become satisfied. Life is about being satisfied and accepting that, well, this situation has happened and it has come. And I will take it like that.
I think one of the reasons why men and women cannot be friends is because we are wired differently. I honestly do not believe that a man, he said that, I think you're the one who said it, that you project what you're already thinking. We are wired differently. Women are wired to offer sex. Yeah.
So what?
Women are wired to offer sex. I repeat that. Like they give sex as a, it's more like a reward system. Like we take them out, we do all these things, they give us sex. Yeah. Let me finish.
Okay.
Men are wired to be hunters. We are wired to chase the woman. Our end game is chow. You understand? Our end game is sex. A guy will wait for the opportunity. There is no way. This guy
why
is
don't
saying,
you say
yes,
your
dominance.
end game as
No, you as a man, the way you've been wired,
Yours.
the way you've been groomed. I know, like, you know, we are not animals, but you as a man, intrinsically, your end game is the cookie.
Okay. All right.
What if you were groomed by women?
So
but-
even
but-
with
but-
your mom or something. Anyway,
To roll off for what he said, Chris, nobody marries their enemy.
Well,
Yes, you become friends, then later you become enemies when you divorce. So, but you didn't marry your enemy, all right? You married your friend.
not always. Not always. You know, some marriages are out of consequence. Like,
Yes.
based on what he said, that you're just there for the cookie, and
Peter,
then somebody got
example,
pregnant.
and then you
Yeah,
get
Peter,
and they say you had to
I'm
marry.
going
But
to,
anyway,
I'm
go
going
ahead.
to break the rule of the show
Yeah.
and set my own question and give myself an
Answer.
answer.
That's
Because you are not asking the question.
okay,
Ask
please.
everyone.
Sorry.
All right, now,
No,
Does
so he's about to
opportunity-
ask you. Yeah.
Does
Does
opportunity
opportunity
create
create
a
a
thief?
And are you okay with your
Right.
wife having
Great.
male friends?
Great. So, if one is a thief, they're going to seize every opportunity to steal,
The thief creates the opportunity.
right? And if one isn't, even when there is opportunity to steal, they may not even see it,
Yeah. Okay.
right? So opportunity does not create a thief. Thieves seize opportunities to steal. Number one. Number two is, I am not comfortable, and no guy should ever be comfortable with their wife having the type of closeness that's in the intimate space.
He just said.
He said, I'm not saying.
Okay.
I am saying
He said,
what I'm saying.
No.
Okay? No guy should have,
We are together with that one. Yeah.
you should have, allow any other guy to have a type of closeness that is in the intimate space. You know, Chinedu is close friends with Gloria because he's tight. They can go out to Mombasa for a weekend.
Oh, no.
You
No,
just
no,
said.
no.
No, that was
Yeah.
no. He said in the
I'm just
family.
saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
No, he said in the family
Yeah.
space. So that's
No,
all
I'm
of you. It's a group holiday.
You will sneak into a room.
I am
But then anytime you're
clarifying.
going on holiday,
Listen,
yeah.
I'm clarifying.
Yeah.
That should never happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. We're all in agreement on that.
Yeah. The only way Chinedu will ever find himself with Gloria at the beach if Chinedu went with Gloria and his wife and Gloria's cousin and I don't know who else and you at least it's in the personal space. But even more importantly, even in the personal space, we should never allow a relationship that the other is uncomfortable with for any reason.
Yeah.
For
Exactly.
the reason can even be, I just don't feel that person.
Yeah.
That's good enough
Yeah.
to flash them out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because you must choose. Are you going to stick with the person you chose to live your life with?
Yes.
Or you want to go with funky cool Gloria who cracks jokes?
Do
Okay.
you know
Fulfilling
Gloria?
a need.
Yeah?
You will
No,
talk
and
about
that's the
fulfilling
problem.
needs.
So you teach your wife how to fulfill the need. Let her
Yeah.
go to YouTube, learn how to crack jokes, you know, get a jokes tutor. My point is this, and so I would reverse the same thing for me and a guy,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
If I feel threatened by a guy, I don't care what the reason is. The guy goes. Why? Because most of us.
Chinedu makes it look like it's all
No,
fun and
seriously,
games, prancing
seriously.
around in the meadows.
Because you see, in this game,
I trust
in
her.
this game of love or in relationships, you only got here because you are the fastest to get there, not because you are the only one who can get there. You see, my mom.
Finally, Chris.
No, serious.
Finally.
No, Peter, I have a head on my shoulders all along. You didn't know, right? So see, because you are the first to get there doesn't mean that you're the only one who can get there. My mom was providing some counsel to my wife and I after we got married, and she said, "Listen, my children," she looks at me. She says, "Never stop pursuing your wife. Don't assume that because you married her, she's now
Yours.
old goods and she's on the shelf. Pursue her, right? Woo her." And she looked at my wife and says the same thing. Don't assume because this man married you that it's finished business. Pursue him, woo him. So when you see, even in the Bible, Solomon, he wrote in Song of Solomon and he said, "Let us catch the little foxes that spoil the vineyard." In other words, in every relationship, if you're assuming it's a garden, there are little foxes that come in. If you are aware of it, then you protect yourself. If anyone is in a relationship and you think that there is no one who can poach on it, you are joking.
Now, Chris,
So you need to protect it.
Chris, before I forget, recently a friend of mine told me a story. He went to buy something in town, and he went with the wife. He was there. They were holding hands. The moment he removed the hands to touch the wallet and start paying, some dudes were there already hitting on the woman. The guy was there. Now imagine you allowing your madam on a holiday with this dude.
Fine.
Now, the whole point is,
You're the only one remaining for
No, it's not conversion, Peter. You are just not listening to us.
and I'm taking Igaga to a nursery school. There is a ruler. The ruler has 10 centimeters from 0 to 10. Now that is the friendship. Because friendship should be towards 9, 10. The tightness, isn't it? If this dude crosses 5, he's going towards the private and intimate space. You complain. Actually, in my language, I come from a rural area and we border a national park. We had the saying that if you plant maize, even when the monkeys are eating the maize, you keep shouting. Because every time you shout, the monkeys run away, regroup, and when they come back, you shout. So you keep, foiling their attack until your maize are ready. It is the same thing which Chris has said. If this friend, so friend to my woman, or my friend is threatening our marriage, then it is, first of all, if me I have failed to see that it's threatening the marriage, then it's the job of my wife to remind me and say, you know what, I think you are crossing.
Now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pick up something that Chinedu said. And I'm going to take his example. I'm not doing a border thing. You said they were friends of yours, women, who were your friends before you got married.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what a PPF is? It's called a past, present, and future.
Yeah.
There are those people who are not, those are not even little foxes. They are big foxes.
Mammoth.
Who were part of your past, then your present, and will continue being in your future. Those are the people who you go to consult, all right?
Yeah.
And when you have a problem. Now, for both sides, for both men and women, those are very, very dangerous people.
Yeah. There's a thin line.
Yes.
Peter, do you remember what a PPF actually used to be? A terrible injection.
I mean, but maybe, and it still is.
And you see, that's exactly the point. I think that we all must get rid of PPFs.
No.
No, serious.
I will.
Because that's the biggest threat to your relationship.
Yeah.
It's the biggest threat to your relationship. Actually, if there is anybody that for both of you in a relationship is a threat, you just need to voice it, and you need to have a deal that says, if I don't like them, they are not our friend. And it brings me back to what Banji had said earlier, which is that for someone to be in the personal space, they need to be our friend as a couple. If they don't pass the test either way, they are not your friend. Because, and by the way, for it even is not just about someone of the opposite sex, but sometimes it is about, I am a guy, I have a friend who, you know some of those guys who've been in your life, but they just, they stick around, but they are bad for you. So it's, if you talk about it and your spouse feels that's not good company for you, dump them, because they are not progressive people.
So, I mean, the two, if I can just, come in real quick, like, so basically, so on the one hand, it's like, okay, so if you're in a committed relationship, you're married, based on everything, that means have no friends, basically. Have no female friends, because one day or the other it's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. That, how do you manage that? How do you do that? So, because basically that is the feeling I'm getting, that because there's no way, you can't fight it. If you have a female friend, something is going to happen. So that just means the best thing for your life.
That's not what we're saying.
That's not what we are saying. And then the second thing I want to ask is, okay, so basically taking the whole thing, so is it that if you have, not like if you have intentions, but if you've thought, oh, this is an attractive person, that kind of like, the person is your friend, but if you've thought it, then that means, what they call it, you failed. Does that mean you feel that men and women can't be platonic friends because you have thoughts in your head?
It starts as a thought.
It starts as a thought, but there's so many thoughts. I think about being a billionaire all the time.
You're not there yet.
But your parting shot as we wrap up.
I have always said that whereas men, if we are studying biology, whereas men are animals, the difference between men and other animals is that the man has the brain to choose what is right and what is wrong. So we shouldn't just walk there with our guns in our hands and say, we are men, let us just shoot. You will even shoot yourself. So having a friend of the opposite sex doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to happen. No. It does. Life doesn't move that way. Two is that friendship. That friendship has to have boundaries. It must have boundaries. It must have limits. And in fact, Igaga, one thing I didn't tell you is that sometimes this friendship grows. That if you went into the sex part of it, you lose a lot. Actually, you lose a lot. She's far much better to you as a friend than, having sex with her. So you won't even have those feelings. They will not be there because you are looking at the bigger, broader picture. However, my advice for those guys who cannot zip, keep away from the ladies. Just have your guy friends, and that is it. But most importantly, if you have a friend of the opposite gender and your partner says, this one, please, that is it.
Respect.
Okay. Because this is the person you chose to be with. Once they have said, we don't like this lady and she's your friend, well, you start cutting down and get out of her life.
All right.
Yeah, because she's a friend. She has a husband or a partner somewhere else.
Chris, your parting shots.
Two things I'll say. One is that you cannot stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop it from building a nest on your head. You'll always have people around, but how close they get to you is a decision you make. In line with that, there are 4 spaces: social space, 70, public space, 70, 100 people plus. You can't stop that from happening. If you sit in a taxi with females, you're in a taxi. It's public space. Social space, which is mostly workspace, church, or some of these places, you can't stop people from being there. They may know your name, where you come from, what car you drive, or you don't, but that's not as dangerous as when you now get into personal space and more dangerous as you get into intimate space. If you are in a committed relationship, you must gatekeep from personal going lower. You must decide together who are your friends in the personal space, those 10, 12 people, and you must definitely gatekeep who is the closest person to you as a couple. Who are the 1 or 2 people that you confide in and seek advice from? So if you don't break that rule, the personal and intimate space, you'll be fine. But if you think you can go rogue in those 2 areas, you're going to sleep with every dog.
Okay. Wow. Chinedu, your parting shot.
I think it's, simply to thine own self be true. That phrase, if you, like he said, if you know you're the type of guy or female that somebody hugs you and you just get excited, stay away from friends. But if you have, because friendship comes on, a mental level, like people you share stuff with, you have stuff in common. So it comes down to discipline, maturity, trust, respect. So it's hard. It's very hard, especially in these times of social media and everything. So you can make friends very easily for all types of things. But if you're honest with yourself, and I like the thing about if your partner says no, that I'm very uncomfortable with this person, cut the person off, even to the point of telling the person this is why.
But then you make your partner look bad.
Doesn't matter.
That's your partner. That's the only person that matters.
And you better look bad.
Yeah.
And when the guy is away.
So just know. So boundaries, like we've talked about setting boundaries, but I'm talking about setting boundaries for yourself. Know what, like, basically, like, we're humans, so guys have a type per se. So if you see a woman that you know, she's my type and everything, this friendship, stay away. Just stay away. So know your limits. That's basically what. Know your limits. And
Cool. Great stuff. Now you've heard it from the gentlemen tonight. Does opportunity create a thief? Have a good night. God bless, and we'll see you next week only on your favorite show, and that is Men. Good night from us here at the Hilton Garden Inn.